challenging parts?
Challenging. I'm just so good at everything. Again, I would say Claire Stanfield. And again, part of that is because of the accent, part of that is because he's Korean. Oh, I guess I could say this is for physical reasons only, but Barry the Chopper was extremely difficult because I had to yell most of the time. There were times I lost my voice. Not good for a voice actor, turns out. Then you just become, I guess, just an actor. I don't know.
And actually, when you become a mime.
Right. You're a mime. We have done a few projects at Funimation where we've done live action, and that they don't put as much time and effort into matching things for live action, and I'm not sure why, but yes, and it's a lot of fun. It's a very fast process, so again, they tend to use the people that have experience dubbing, because you might get to read it twice, maybe. But most of the time it's going to be first time through, get it, gone. But it's a lot of fun. You get to see some very odd things. Kung Fu movies are awesome.
In some dubbing work, you'll hear characters or actors who have like some amount of a monologue, where they kind of lapse into a sing-song kind of pattern in reading. What would you say to people who are learning that, how to catch themselves doing it and how to get around it?
It's, I would say catching yourself doing it is the hard part. Because while you're doing it, you're not even thinking in those terms. But that is I would say, one of the most common problems that we have. And it really is just practice, practice, practice. Those same professionals I mentioned before might become patterning every now and then. And to them, you just have to say, got a little patterning on this part. They're like, oh, okay. But you have to be able to hear it first. And that is another thing that I learned after becoming a director is I always kind of thought that, and it was because of my own foolishness, I always thought that everyone would be able to parrot someone else. And it's only because I've done it my entire life. That someone can say something a certain way and you can then repeat it back to them the same exact way. Turns out not everybody can do that. Which becomes a problem sometimes. But being patterning, I know exactly what you mean, and sometimes if you don't know what you mean, then you can fall into it very easily. Now, and that's the thing, you guys, because we're talking about it, recognize it immediately. If you are doing it, you probably wouldn't have the first clue. You wouldn't have the first clue. And really it's dynamic. It's the dynamic of the whole thing. It's trying to make sure, well, it's as I'm speaking to you now, there are ups and downs, peaks and valleys, and if I'm being more poignant, I'm going to, stick that word a little harder, and if I want to make it more serious, there are many things I can do. Yeah, you just gotta listen, and learn how to hear it. It's very difficult. One of the most difficult things. For the first time.
Okay,
I always like to say Jewell, my train of thought.
what would you say is I can't really say the least because you're like an awesome actor with 100 different characters, but what would be the least?
They all sound the same.
Yeah, I know they all sound the same. What would be like the least favorite character you've ever played, like you never ever want to voice that character again or don't like it?
You will rarely find a voice actor that doesn't like a character they play. Very rarely. And
maybe if you have one, sorry.
I don't really have one because you're just so happy to get to work. I'm happy to go in and do bits for other people. It's not like like they keep me on the shelf where we're only using him as a lead. I'm fortunate that the majority of the anime they have done in Funimation involve teenage kids. I mean, if we want to really call it what it is, that's why I've gotten over 100 characters. It's because I still sound young.
That question because you just played so many different characters. Like I don't know.
Most of them under the age of 20.
Or is it that even a difficult character that you may not agree with the character's choices still presents an interesting challenge? Interesting.
It's a change in mindset. I keep bringing up Claire Stanfield, but that's because you guys should watch that show. But he's a killer. He's whacked out of his mind.
Last question. Do you like cookies?
But it's not your job as an actor to decide whether or not you agree with this person. You know, it's your job as an actor to make this person somewhat believable as much as you can. So if he's a serial killer, well then I guess I'm going to try to take on the mindset of a serial killer and try to get the enjoyment out of it that he does. Because if I'm sounding miserable, going, I do not agree with this man's life choices. If I'm thinking that while I'm trying to deliver lines, then no one is going to believe a word I say.
Hi. Yes, my arms were going to fall off. But I wanted to ask, how did you find the accent you used for Russia and Italia?
It is the worst Russian accent. The tryouts for that were a whirlwind, and they were literally, accents are a whole different beast in and of themselves. A lot of the trained actors have something they can draw on as far as accents, but people who have never really done accents before, you're going to know it as soon as you hear it. And they had, I mean, everybody, well, you can look at the cast of that show, and you see who got it. It's the actors who have experience. Even Scott Freeman, who that was really one of his first bigger parts as England, I guess,
Yeah.
right? Still, he had been at Funimation for years before that. So, I mean, we all got in there and they're like, can you do this? Well, yes, I can do this. And most of us could do British accents, most of us could do French accents, most of us could do, you know, so it just became, well, which one do we want for what? And Russia, they asked me if I could do a Russian accent, and initially I said no, because it's terrible. My Russian accent is terrible. But then they told me that that's sort of what they were going for. They said the show originally was meant to be not offensive in a bad way, but you know, kind of poking fun at all cultures around the world, which you have to give props to Japan for making fun of themselves. I appreciate that a lot. But that was it. They were like, okay, what's the worst close to Russian accent we had today? I think that was Jerry. We'll make him Russian. I think that's how it happened. I'd say for sure. I have strong feeling.
I loved your voice, though.
Is it hard to like go back to a part like after a few years of not doing it, like with Barry the Chopper?
I think there would be a short period of getting back to it. I think I would get back to it fairly quickly, but yeah, sometimes it can be hard. There are other things like Jimmy Udo, though, that would take me, that's close to my voice naturally, so I could fall into that in a heartbeat. But yeah, Barry the Chopper would be kind of hard to get back to, I think.
What character that you voice act is closest to you personality-wise and Jerry?
I get that question a lot. You have to have a place for all of them, you know? And I don't mean for that to be a cop-out, but you have to you have to find somewhere where you as a person and the character cross paths, somewhere, or there's no relation to the character. It's amazing, I was talking about it just the other day though, it's amazing how many times I've been cast in things because I have red hair. And the directors, who all of them know me, they know me for years, will see a character and they'll go, oh, he's got red hair.
Is there a certain red hair accent or?
There's not. There's not at all. We're real people, I promise. We are. We're the unicorns of haircut, really. When you really think about it. And that's another reason I love anime conventions so much, is because anime conventions are where you can see what is called the cluster effect. If you're not aware of the cluster effect is you can go all day without seeing any redheads. But the moment you see one redhead, the rest of that day you will see 20 other redheads. If you don't believe me, try it. Start with that.
Hey, it's not my natural hair though.
You see an inordinate number of redheads, and I feel like I'm with my people. And the angels are having a good time too. You know what I mean, because they're kissing all this all the time. In case you don't know, that's what our mothers lied to us and said freckles were. Angel kisses. Yes, they're angel kisses. And I was like, I looked like I was in an angel orgy. Problem is, that's the whole thing.
I know people have to speak pretty loudly in order for the audio equipment to pick up their voice, but how quiet can you go without it not being?
Quiet is reserved for when they want Jerry to have a deeper voice. Because if I'm projecting at all, this is usually the range. Well, actually, this isn't even projecting. This is talking comfortably. But if I'm projecting a little bit, most of the time it's up here. Any of you that have watched Case Closed know that this is pretty much where Jimmy Kudo is. Why didn't I see it before? That's Jimmy Kudo. Close to the mic is reserved for quiet because that's the only way I can get lower in my voice. Because I sound like a boy.
Okay, so I had two questions. One is when you were talking, like, just talking about, like, everyone's favorite characters and, like, maybe finding some sort of class in terms of, putting yourself in a character. How do you get yourself in that mindset with all these, and at least for your favorite role, like, how do you get into these different mindsets for these characters? And then the other one is, you guys, often you guys just, like, just goof off, just, like, having fun, get, like, a little story or something fun, like,
I'm a complete professional when I'm in the booth. I had a session with Chris Sabat recently, and he's a professional as well. Very, very good. Many, many voices to his credit, way more than I have. He's been at this for a lot longer as well. But he is awesome to have in the booth because it breaks the monotony of what you're doing. He will just out of nowhere give you reads that make no sense whatsoever. He'll change the words, but he'll still make it match the flaps and say something ridiculous. He'll mess with you as a director, which is great. We had one where I was saying, okay, I like to read just a little softer. I said, okay, louder than that. So the next time he screamed it. So I promised supposed to give me work done. Sabat won't let me do it. And that's why they call it sabotage. But most of the time, you have a very short period of time to find where that character is, and that is also where the director comes in. They usually give you some bullet points. This age, this place in your voice, here's his background, at least as much as we have. And from that, you got to kind of go, okay, well, if he's is you kind of, you have a few minutes, literally, to look at the backstory and to think about, well, what would that make this person? How did they turn out the way they are? Where did they come from? Where are they going? What are they thinking right now? That kind of thing. So it's not a long